Let's have a little conversation about authenticity. A lot of times people look at children, babies, and use their expressions, the way they express themselves, as a way to describe authentic behavior. They say a baby is authentic. He is who he is. When he's mad, he's mad. When he's happy, he's happy. When he's sad, he's sad. He doesn't have a filter and try to diverge his personality so that it fits a certain idea. But the funny thing is, once we become adults, somebody gets mad. Oh, you're being negative. Somebody gets upset. You're sad about something. Maybe you're complaining. Oh, you're so negative. Stop being negative. But yet that same person will look at a child and say, look at the authenticity and how beautiful it is when a child can just be himself. So I've been thinking about this sort of thing for years now. People don't necessarily want other people to be authentic. People want to feel comfortable, and that's more the reality of what you're going to experience when you're interacting with people. But when you cater to others' comfort, you yourself cannot be authentic. Because in order to cater to someone's feelings, you're going to have to change your reaction. You're going to have to change how you would express that authentic feeling in you. It's only once you're an adult that you attach a label to certain emotions and say they're bad, and then you try to avoid them. And when somebody else does what you consider as bad, you attach that label to the person. So, for me, I believe authenticity is more important than comfort. If a person tries to change how they are all the time, that's going to stay inside of you. The way you actually wanted to express that energy within your body that wanted to come out, you block it. So what happens is it stays inside. And you might talk about what you would say. You might run scenarios in your head about the next time this happens and all that. And it's funny. It's very funny. It's very funny. Because if we gave our friends, the adults in our lives, that same understanding as a child, so you know when a child has a temper tantrum, it's going to come out. You know there's a start and an end. And you know that once the kid has done his tantrum, it's gone. He can go from mad right back to happy because he's taken it all out. And as an adult, we hold it in, which is why we become bitter, resentful. Anything that you're not allowed to express authentically stays within you like a hangover, and it will seep out everywhere in your life. You might overeat to compensate. You're going to have these different habits or something that you're going to do that's going to destroy something. Mild or intense, doesn't matter. You're going to somehow sabotage yourself because you simply didn't act authentically when you had the opportunity. I've been practicing authenticity in my life for a while now, since over the last 8 years, more and more. You practice it with certain people, and you've built a certain relationship with certain people, and sometimes you have to make a choice whether or not to to just be authentic or not. You can always be authentic if you want. It will bring a little bit more challenge in your life. So, depending on where you are in your life, you may not have the emotional energy, the batteries, to deal with a situation that comes up. When you just are who you are in the moment. So it's not to say that, you're bad if you're not authentic. We live in this same mess of kind of crazy living, this inauthentic living, and we're used to that. And the minute you step out of that, you're going to be riddled with challenges. So, for me, the way I've done it is I've been testing that authenticity, the authentic expression with certain people, and I allow it to come out and more and more as I see people are accepting or not. And for the most part, I am largely very much authentic in my expressions. And there are certain people that I am not around. I just don't bother talking to them. So, you have to pick and choose, maybe. You don't have to, but it goes back down to, like I mentioned at the beginning, or just a minute ago, you're going to cause more challenges, unfortunately. And it's too bad because, if everybody just acted authentically and we all understood how the mind and the body and the emotions work, we would all understand that it's just it's like a cloud. There's anger. Oh, there's Danny's angry. I'm going to listen. I'm going to let it go out. And then you might get triggered. And within the mess, you might understand that you're both angry and that what you're saying you don't mean. Maybe you just can't help it. And neither can the other person. And if you can go through that process, allow it to go out, finish everything, get mad, go away from the person, and then when you meet each other, if you both can have that understanding in your mind the whole time the fight was there, the first thing you might find yourself doing when you go to the person again is apologizing to each other and just kind of explaining yourself and saying, look, here it was again. Eckhart Tolle called it the pain body. When you just can't cope anymore and it comes out. So, if a person lived authentically, there wouldn't be nearly as much of a pain body. A pain body, what I mean by that, what Eckhart Tolle means by that, is just the accumulated emotional pain that has been unprocessed. You might not have talked about it, you might have buried it, and every time you see it, you don't look at it. And eventually it comes out. It happens in like a mood. You just wake up maybe in a really bad mood and you're cranky all day. You might not know why. Well, that's their pain body coming through. It needs to eat. You've suppressed it. It will come out regardless. And that's the whole point of the video, is that what people don't realize is that whether or not you are authentic, the negativity that you think you're saving people from, that negativity that you think you're saving people from is going to come out anyways. And oftentimes, over a much longer period of time. It might not be quite as intense in the moment and each time, but it will have a much more long-lasting, devastating effect to your relationships than you realize. And sometimes being authentic and having somebody not want to be around you anymore is exactly what you need. There's nothing wrong with having people not want to be around you. There's a lot of human beings on the planet, and we're not all made to fit. So when you change yourself to fit everybody, what you end up doing is neglecting yourself, and in that neglect, your subconscious carries all of that neglect and will release it, resentment, and like I said before, all those sort of things. And this is all stuff you can see inside just by looking at yourself. You can see it all. So this video is really to encourage you to not be afraid to be authentic, because in being who you are, you're going to create an environment around you that, believe it or not, is actually healing for you and for others. Not everyone is ready to heal. Not everyone is ready to change. But those who are will recognize you. Those who are making the changes will recognize that what you're doing is of great, great value. And there are those people who will stick with you. And sometimes the relationship might seem very messy, and it can be a great spiritual practice for each of you, because you're creating a safe space for each other to not be judged, to just be who you are without fucking judgment. And you know how good that feels. And if you haven't tried it, this is a warning. Once you start, there's no going back. And if you do go back, you're going to be depressed. You cannot hold yourself down for too long. So I leave you with that. Wherever you are, around the world, whatever time it is that you're watching this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. Whew. Peace.